friends. Thank you so much for tuning in to this recap of High Potential Season 2, Episode 1. Now, this show is amazing. It comes on ABC on Tuesdays, and it airs the next day on Hulu.
I have an IQ of 160. The technical term is high potential intellectual. It means you have advanced cognitive abilities.
Kaitlin Olson stars as Morgan, and Morgan is a single mom with an IQ of 160 with a very messy and chaotic life. But she has a brain so sharp that she ends up cracking cases the very detectives that she used to clean up after they couldn't solve. And that's pretty much the premise of High Potential. But before I delve into my recap, let me introduce myself. My name is Brandy, and I realize that you could be on any channel in the world right now, but you're right here with me, and I really do appreciate that. So please go ahead and like this video. It really does help the channel out, and I greatly appreciate it. And also subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy watching TV show reviews and also movie reviews. So season 2, episode 1, titled Pawns, it kicks off with a cute young lady with blonde hair. She has a short skirt on and a jean jacket. She's walking out of the club. She's dancing around. She's vibing. And if you watch season 1, then you know she has similar vibes to Morgan. She takes a phone call from her sister that's apparently watching her young son, and she tells them, hey, I love you. I'll be home soon. She's still dancing around in the street. She's walking to her car, but she walks past a white van and she gets kidnapped. And my anxiety was through the roof watching this scene as Maya is approaching her car, but she walks too closely to the white kidnapper van. I tell my young daughters all the time, my oldest is 9, my youngest just turned 3, don't ever go too close to a white van. That's the kidnapper van. Like, nobody warned Maya, I guess. The next scene cuts to Morgan in her bedroom reviewing evidence that's scattered all over her bed. And we learn that Morgan hasn't been to work at the LAPD as a police consultant in about a week or so because she's going through a very stressful situation. Beyond stressful, actually. The game maker has been toying with her. Now, the game maker, he is a criminal mastermind, a serial kidnapper. He hasn't killed anyone quite yet, but that can soon change. But he's been toying with Morgan, and he decided that she is his next target along with her family. She even had a hallucination in this scene that she saw him in her bedroom, and then she hears her son scream, but thankfully it's just a pillow fight. But let's take a moment to talk about the game maker. His name alone just annoys me compared to other criminal masterminds that we're familiar with, like these masterminds that taunt detectives with elaborate schemes and psychological games. Criminals like Hannibal Lecter, Tom Ripley, and even Moriarty, like they have better names. Like the game maker is just so unserious to me. Morgan's boss Selena pops up at her house to check on her and to also give her an update on Roman. Now, Roman is Morgan's ex-husband that has been missing for the past 15 years. And one of the motivating factors for Morgan even agreeing to be a LAPD police consultant was that they help her find her ex-husband, who is also the father to her teenage daughter, Ava. So Selena says that they don't have an exact address for him yet, but they know that he's alive and they know that he's in Nevada. So they're getting pretty close to his whereabouts. Shortly after Selena leaves, Morgan calls Karadek just to check and see if he has any updates and just to check on his mental state as well. She could tell that he's been working really hard. He's actually been pulling back-to-back all-nighters to find out who the game maker is that threatened one of their own, Morgan. Karadek is very passionate about his job, and not only that, I think that he might be developing some romantic feelings for Morgan as well. But nonetheless, he's very committed to finding out who the game maker is. The next morning, we see Morgan go outside, and there's police details stationed outside of her house because, again, she's in a very dangerous situation. Now, I will say this, in this episode, I wasn't feeling that she was in fear of her life and her children's life, although at the end, she did give a pretty good monologue stating how fearful she was, but I didn't feel the urgency in this episode. Nonetheless, she goes to talk to Chester, the police officer stationed outside of her house. She gives him some Girl Scout cookies, and she checks her mailbox, and she has one piece of mail in the mailbox, but it's the wrong address. And her mind immediately starts putting clues together. She's thinking like, wow, the USPS, they never make a mistake with the wrong address. Somebody must have planted this mail here intentionally. So she walks to the address on the piece of mail, and she lives on a cul-de-sac. And as she's walking to the specific address, she walks past a house that's blaring loud music. And the song was, I believe, The Lion Sleeps Tonight from The Lion King. If you remember, at the end of season 2, he puts like a game, a lion matchmaker game, into her grocery bag when she was with her kids at the store. So she's putting 2 and 2 together, like there's playing this Lion King song, and he gave me the lion match game. I'm sure that this is the game maker. So Morgan rushes to the police station to inform Karadak, Oz, Daphne, and Selena about her findings. Unfortunately, her colleagues are doubting her, and they don't believe that the game maker is toying with her again, but she knows for a fact, and she is adamant in trying to convince them as such. She tells them to run the address and also run the fingerprints on a piece of mail that she received. Daphne runs the address on the mail, and it comes back to a residence leased by Maya Price. And Maya Price is the girl that went missing the night before. And Maya's sister and her son happen to be at the precinct at the same exact time that they say the address out loud. And Maya's sister said, "That's my sister that lives at that address and she's missing." So next they take the sister into a private room and they ask her to walk them through Maya's night. And Maya's sister informs the police officers that Maya went to the nightclub because she got free tickets to some type of show that was going on at Sound Nightclub. And she decided to go with her co-worker. She also told them that Maya doesn't drink, she doesn't do drugs, and she always comes home. So this is very uncharacteristic of Maya. In fact, Maya is very responsible and she works 2 jobs. She works at AGM and she works at Costco part-time just to make ends meet because she is a single mother. And this really seemed to resonate with Morgan as well, but not really the other police officers. You could tell that Morgan is like, wow, this guy targeted Maya because she's just like me. She's a single mom. She has blonde hair. She wears similar outfits to me. In fact, the young lady Maya, her skirt was hiked up her butt too. She had on a short skirt with the boots. Just the way we see our girl Morgan dressing in this entire series. She dresses like Paris Hilton or something. Lastly, Maya's sister informs them that Maya had court the following week for custody issues with her ex-husband. So you know that the cops immediately call her ex-husband Derek in for questioning. But Derek comes in and he informs them that Maya is his entire world. He loves Maya. He would never do anything to hurt her. He tells them that she's been receiving expensive luxury gifts, but they're not from him, and it's been making him jealous. So he did decide to follow her, and he's been blowing up her phone as well, but he would never do anything to hurt Maya. Morgan and Detective Karadak also go to the nightclub where Maya was the night before, and they try to figure out where she could have parked at and where she was abducted from. So they go to the closest parking lot, and Karadak isn't convinced that Maya was abducted from that spot. But Morgan is insistent. Remember, she has advanced cognitive abilities, so she sees things that other detectives don't see. So Morgan deduced that whoever took Maya fought back with her pocketbook, but when she swung her pocketbook, some items fell out, including the candy that we see some lip balm, and we see a few other items too. Now they see drag marks on the ground. It started out 2 drag marks, then it turned into 1. So Morgan deduced that the kidnapper was dragging Morgan, and then one of her boots fell off. And sure enough, they look around a little bit and they find Maya's boot nearby. So now Karadak and Morgan are on the same page, and they know that the kidnapper, which Morgan is adamant that is the game maker, dragged Maya to her own car and stuffed her in there unconscious. Now they go to Maya's home to see if they can find any evidence there, and they find a bunch of luxury designer shopping bags, but the shopping bags are empty. And then Morgan sees other items in her house that she figured that Maya could have purchased from a local pawn shop. So they go over to that pawn shop. The pawn shop is called the Boneyard, and through a funny exchange with the pawn shop owner, they were able to obtain the luxury bags that Maya sold to the pawn shop. And the pawn shop owner tells Detective Karadak and Morgan that Maya was in a heated argument with a man right outside of the store. He doesn't remember what the man looks like, but he does have CCTV footage that they could look over. And they see that it's Derek, her ex-husband. But again, in this episode, they pretty much are ruling her ex-husband out as a suspect. But the question still remains, where are the luxury bags coming from? So they pull in Maya's friend that she went to the nightclub with that evening. And her co-worker informs Karadak and Morgan that she believes that the luxury handbags could have came from the CEO of the company they work for. His name is Jason, and they find out that he has previous sexual harassment charges against him that have been settled out of court. And his co-worker also informs them that he's a Nepo baby, and he basically never comes to the office unless he really wants to see Maya. So now they start to look into Jason's background, the CEO of the company that Maya works for. But Morgan is so convinced that Jason has nothing to do with kidnapping Maya, and I really cannot understand why the other detectives are doubting Morgan. You could tell that her team was really stressing her out by not believing her, so much so that she removes herself from the room with them. She goes into another room. She creates her own classic string-covered murder boards that we see in all of the crime shows. Now, Morgan outlines to her team how all of the game maker's previous victims have something in common with Jason. For instance, the first victim was a diabetic, and Jason's a diabetic. The second victim was an artist, and Jason is an artist. And lastly, Jason is a certified scuba instructor, which ties him to the third victim, Oz, their own team member, when he put Oz in a pool and Oz nearly died. And what Morgan is trying to convince them of is that this is too easy. She tells her team that it only took her about 5 minutes to research Jason and find out all of this information about him. And she swears that the game maker is framing Jason. And mind you, she's already seen the game maker's face. At the end of season 1, she saw him at the grocery store. And now she sees Jason's face on the internet and she knows that's not the same guy. So we actually see her start to unfold and we see stress start to take a hold of her, and so does her team. But although we see Morgan becoming irritated and moody because no one is believing her, she still forges ahead and she goes with Karadek to pay Jason a visit. It's some kind of weird party going on at Jason's house where everybody is wearing like these anime type masks, but nonetheless they question Jason, they question his relationship with Maya and why he was buying her these luxury bags. And he tells them, listen, I didn't buy Maya any bags. She has access to the company credit card, and I found out that she purchased luxury items on her own. I did question her about it and she denied it, so I just let it slide. She's a single mom and I have a soft spot for single moms. And while they were questioning Jason, he did come across kind of like an asshole, but he really didn't seem like he was a kidnapper. And Morgan also notices that a sword out of his collection is missing as well. But then Karadek and Morgan, they go their separate ways in the party. And Morgan, she's looking through a window and she locks eyes with the game maker. She's trying to get Karadek's attention to let him know that the game maker is there, but Karadek is busy finding his own clues. He found a bracelet at the bottom of the pool that Maya was wearing on the night of her disappearance. So Karadek and Morgan, they link back up. They see the game maker. They tell him to remove his mask. Karadek has his gun pointed at him. He removes his mask, but it isn't the game maker. It's Jason. Morgan is gravely disappointed, and Karadek locks Jason up for the disappearance of Maya. Now back at the police station, Karadek and Morgan, they fill the team in on what happened at Jason's house. And Morgan tells them that she is sure she saw the game maker's face at the party. They question if she's sure, and this is when I saw some of the urgency come out of Morgan's character. She says that she can never forget the game maker's face because he's a threat to her life and her children's life. And even when they lock him away, or even when he gets killed, that she will forever have his face ingrained in her brain. But Morgan's team is starting to believe her just a bit when she questions, how did Derek know exactly when Jason would be brought into the precinct? When Jason was arrested and they brought him to the police station, Derek, Maya's ex, was there and he was trying to jump on him and fight him. Again, Maya is the love of his life and he wants to kill Jason now since Jason was arrested for Maya's disappearance. But Morgan thought it was strange that Derek was there at the exact same time that Jason was getting arrested, and she knew that someone tipped him off. Then the team finally realizes that, hey, maybe the game maker really is setting up Jason to be the fall guy. And they also realize that he is driving Derek to actually kill Jason. So maybe the game maker's end game is to kill Jason, but he doesn't want to do it himself. So he's getting Derek angry enough at Maya's disappearance that he goes ahead and kills Jason. It then dawns on Karadek that Derek is probably at Maya's house trying to find a gun that they said was registered to her name but missing. Karadek gets to Maya's house. He looks in a gun case and it is missing. And then we see Derek's car speeding off and Karadek screaming, Derek, wait, no. But hopefully they catch Derek before he does kill Jason. And at the end of this episode, we see that Oz and Daphne are in Nevada looking for Roman. They knock on the door, and when the audience sees who's inside the door, it's actually Mekhi Phifer. I love him. That is my boy. And we see him looking at an address that's in an envelope. So we're not sure if Mekhi Phifer is Roman. We're not sure of his identity just yet. But guys, comment down below. What did you think of the first episode? I thought it was a pretty solid premiere. But I will say this. I hope that the Game Maker storyline doesn't stretch out too many weeks because I love to see the weekly mystery cases. And I don't want the Game Maker storyline to dominate the show too much. But I don't mind seeing it for another 4 to 5 weeks or so. Friends, I am so sorry. I got so excited talking about Mekhi Phifer's appearance that I forgot about 2 major occurrences that happened at the end of this episode as well. One, they found Maya's bloody clothes in the back of her trunk at a salvage yard. And along with her bloody clothes, there was the sword, the missing sword from Jason's house, remember? It's not enough blood to say for sure if Maya is dead or not, so now the race is really on to find Maya. Also, at the end of this episode, we see the game maker walk into the police station. Although I'm not really convinced if it's for sure the game maker that walked in or if it's Morgan hallucinating again. But nonetheless, hopefully we find out on episode 2. I love you all. Turn your notifications on and thank you so much for watching this video. See you next time. Peace.